So, Kumail and Emily, at what point during this true life experience of yours did you say to yourselves, this might make a good movie?
Years and years later.
Years later. And there never was like one moment where we like turned to each other like, we've got to do this. It like anything with us, it's like a series of conversations where we, at the end of them, very boringly go, I guess that's something we should do. We knew it was a very specific set of events that if no one else made this movie, if we didn't make this movie, no one else would. And working with Judd Apatow, who very much encouraged us, to, like, this is the story that should be told. I think all of that kind of folded in on itself, but there was no one moment.
Yeah.
Well, returning to this moment in your lives years afterwards to write about it and then act in it, turn it into a movie, I mean, what was that experience like for you guys?
Weird, but also not weird. It definitely, the more people that we brought in to the process, the more it kind of became this thing that we were all creating together, rather than a house that Kumail and I had built that people were doing add-ons for. I feel like we kind of, in some ways, started from scratch and built this new thing with these people that used a lot of pieces from our old house, really going with this metaphor.
Yeah,
it's like we tore down the first house and built a second house out of those parts. And I think that kind of helped us for it to be less weird. At least for me, it kind of helped me separate a little bit from the reality of it. And start working on it as a writer working on a project, or as an actor working on a project.
Right. At some point it became separate from our story and became its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of humor in this as well. I mean, finding the comedy in something like falling into a coma and you know, troubles with your family. I mean, how did you glean that out of it?
That was always going to be, we knew that was going to be the trickiest aspect of it. We knew the movie could be emotional because the events are so emotional, but the trick was going to be, how do you make it funny while still feeling real, while not betraying the fact that there's a very young woman who's in a very serious health situation. And so we always had, like, we knew we wanted it to be funny, and we knew there was something funny about people going through a situation that they are ill-equipped for. Like, that's what a lot of comedy is, right? So in its vaguest terms, there is like a comedic construction to it. The specifics are not funny. So we always were like, we were trying to find, like, if these characters in this situation, what is funny stuff that can happen or that they can do that doesn't betray the emotionality of it. And it was a lot of trial and error.
I think in tension breaker comedy and kind of gallows humor is kind of one of my favorite things on earth, and my parents they're very into that kind of comedy too. And I mean, if you think about a movie like Steel Magnolias, there's one scene at a funeral at the end of that movie that Kumail's not seen, so we're not going to spoil it for him, that has the biggest laugh in the movie.
You showed me just that scene.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, I shouldn't have done that.
No, that's okay. I don't know who's... oh, I do know. It's okay.
It's okay. But that is, to me, that's such an ideal, perfect... What a sad, sad moment. And yet everybody, for a moment, everybody kind of feels this relief and feels connected again in something other than sadness. And we really wanted to kind of make sure we had that in our movie, too.
And one of the other great things about the film is that it's so rooted in your life and your culture as a Pakistani man. And it presents a view of that, which, quite frankly, we don't see a lot of in films and television. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, from the beginning, we knew we weren't trying to make this movie to have more diverse representation or anything. We wanted to tell this story, and we knew that to tell the story right, my family had to be, they had to be all well-rounded characters, and you had to understand their worldview as well. So it all came from a place of wanting to tell a good story that has every character being their own complete person.
And you want Kumail to feel like he'd actually be losing something if he lost his family, not that he's just losing these people who are mean to him, but he's losing good parents.
Yeah, they're like lovely, it's like a lovely family that works and loves each other. The happy side effect is that we do get a portrayal of Pakistanis and Muslims that we don't generally see in American pop culture, so that's a happy side effect of it. But it wasn't sort of our impetus for doing this.
Last question, Michael Showalter, your director, what did he bring to the project that...
So much. Michael gets rom-coms in a way that is kind of laser-like precision, and so he was really, really good at kind of helping us hone the script and kind of make sure that we were doing a service to this genre movie that we're kind of in a little bit. He's also really, really good with tone, I would say, and he really helped us nail the like really funny parts that are coming off of really, really intense parts. And he's also just really, really wonderfully collaborative to work with. So it's easy to make suggestions. Nothing ever felt like he was ordering us around or that, God forbid, we were ordering him around. We always worked together. And that really, really helps in a situation like this.
Yeah, Mike has a very specific mix in that he's obviously very funny. He's done a lot of comedy, but he's also a very emotional guy, and he's very in touch with that. And you could see in his work that, you know, he's done a lot of like alt comedy, like
he's one of the kings of alt comedy.
Like The State, Stella, What Had American Summer. These are very idiosyncratic and singular works of comedy that they're weird. But then he also has this really emotional side, and you see that in a lot of his movies. You see that in Hello, My Name is Doris. You see that in The Baxter. And he really brought that to this movie, in that it was someone with this very specific, quirky comedic sense, but a very open heart.